So Braze is a customer engagement platform which is capable of receiving customer-related information, including but not restricted to customer data, email data, additional catalogue and catalogue item data. Today, however, we're going to focus on customer data and email data. The integration is deployed onto EPCC Integration Hub, and I said it will integrate customer data from EPCC to the Braze platform based on EPCC customer created, update and delete events. So currently there are no webhooks set up, but the integration will create some EPCC webhooks. So from Integrations Hub, we will select the Braze integration option. We need the Elastic Path connection details for the store into which we're going to deploy this integration. And it will now test and confirm that connection. We need this connection as we're going to be creating some webhooks back in the EPCC platform. We will need a Braze API key, which needs to be created in the Braze platform. The API key needs to have 3 specific permissions against it: users.track, users.delete, and email.status. I'm going to use a previously set up API key here. The second precursor is when you register with Braze, Braze will provide you with an endpoint specific for you. We will use this default for the moment. And the second part of the configuration is some functional mapping, which is used to map EPCC data generated from the customer events I mentioned earlier. This is where we map that data into Braze endpoints. We'll talk a little bit more about this later. So the integration is being initially set up for the moment. We'll just check that's gone through. So that's good. Now the way to confirm that it's set up correctly, if we go back into store settings and look at webhooks, we can now see one for customer creation, one for customer update, and one for customer delete. That's the point at which we're going to have a little bit more about the logical flow of how this integration works. So from the left-hand side, we have EPCC. As just demonstrated, we've got 3 webhook events that have been created, so deleted, updated, and created for the customer. When any of those events are triggered, they will post to 3 flows that are deployed in the Braze integration hub. So there's a delete customer flow, an update customer flow, and a create customer flow. Then within the integration, there is some orchestration logic. So on the previous step of configuration of the integration, we saw there was a configuration form which talked about some customer updated, customer deleted events, and then how those events are going to map through to 3 additional flows, which are internal flows in the Braze integration. So there's a user delete flow, an email subscription flow, and a user track flow. Each of those flows post requests to the Braze platform. So use delete and user track both post to the user track API in Braze, and email subscription post to an email subscription API in the Braze platform. So we're going to look a little bit more now about what it means to happen. So what now happens is when I create a customer, so I've created a customer. If we go and look at Integrations Hub logs now, pick up the fact that there was a customer create event has been raised and it's been processed. So we've now effectively posted to the Braze user track endpoint, and we have posted to the Braze email subscription status endpoint. We can see that my create customer initiated the create customer flow. Inside the integration's orchestration logic, we've made a post to user track and email subscription flow, and each of those have posted to their related Braze APIs. So within Braze, we've now created a customer profile, and we have set an email subscription status for the email address that was associated with our EPCC profile. So the thing I now want to show is go back and look a little bit more at the configuration, specifically how we map EPCC customer events to Braze endpoints. EPCC customer create event will call the user track endpoint with this data load, and it will also call the change email subscription endpoint with this data load as well. These templates is a JSON-ARTA mapping template, and what we're really seeing is that at the Braze endpoint, we'll be sending an external ID, an email, a name, a last name, and a customer status. And that data will be supplied from the ID, email name, last name, and status fields on an EPCC payload. And for the moment, for defaults, for this change email subscription Braze event, we'll be sending the email from the EPCC customer payload. And for the moment, at least, we've got a hard-coded subscribe value. But again, this could be a value that is configured from the EPCC customer record. The same behavior is mapped for customer updates as well. And we can see that both user track and change email subscription events are enabled for a customer EPCC customer update. And for an EPCC customer deleted, so when a customer is deleted, we will still call the Braze use delete endpoint with an external IDs field with the ID of the EPCC customer. If we go and look flows for the moment, I have extended our customer object. I've put on a demo attribute. Now, if we go back into Integrations Hub and we want to map that new template into Braze, we have to reconfigure our Braze integration. If I was to do it, for example, for the customer update event specifically, what I'm going to do is into Braze, I'm going to map that value as demo EPCC attributes. I just refresh that. So in our executions, we can see that we have run through our reconfiguration process successfully. So what that would now mean is, were I to, for example, make an update to this customer account, that would have generated a customer updated event in EPCC. If I go back into Integrations Hub, we can see that that value will have been posted. We initiated an EPCC customer update. That called the Braze user track flow, and we can still see the Braze email subscription status was called as well.